Dale calls it the bonus championship, the fourth one that they got a year ago. Doesn't it feel like they're trying to go all in for one more, whether Draymond's on the team or not? Isn't that going to be their
that's the plan.
Operation status?
While trying to recalibrate the books a little bit here.
Yeah.
That is the plan. That is the plan. And I think Joe Lacob and company, they realize that, look, the youngsters they're great, but we need guys who can help us win now. And look, Jordan Poole did help you win last season. People forget that. People forget. First of all, you don't go to the playoffs this year without Jordan Poole. You don't win an NBA championship last season without Jordan Poole. So let's get that right. Like, we act like Jordan Poole was just some scrub or something.
Well, can I
Jordan Poole is one of the best players in the NBA in March of that championship season.
Can I ask you about that Jordan Poole thing? Lubman and I were talking yesterday, and you tell me your thoughts on this. Why is it that certain people that win a championship, we forget all their shortcomings, and then others we crush anyway?
Yeah.
So, for example, Barry Zito had 2 moments, and it wiped away a $140 million mistake.
Not for me.
Okay.
Not for me.
But I think for a lot of people,
a lot of people, it did. It's like, well, it was worth the contract. Really?
Yeah, like Brandon Belt had the one swing, right? He did more than that, but I'm just saying, like the one swing in the playoffs in the 18-inning game, and he'll be forever immortalized. And they play the Blue Jays this week, and people are going to stand up and give him a standing ovation. He's a really good Giant, a really good Giant. I'm not trying to diminish him, but like
Giants fans in Toronto going to give him a steady go.
You know what I mean?
Hey, look, he's a good Giant.
But why doesn't Jordan Poole get that same? Are we too fresh to the separation? Will time give him that same love? Like David West is a more beloved Warrior.
I don't think Jordan Poole
than JP right now. It feels like
the farther along. Well, it depends on a couple things. It depends on how Jordan Poole plays at Washington, number one, or how his career plays out in the end, and then 2, what do the Warriors do moving forward? Do they win another championship with this core? Because if they do. Oh, man, see, you didn't need Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole was carried by us.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know, he's Jordan Poole in that. It depends on how things play out. But right now, I'll tell you, right now, people are happy that Jordan, a lot of people, I was stunned, get his bad attitude off the team. He has a terrible attitude. Well, why does he have a bad attitude? We don't have to go into that. We know why he had a bad attitude.
Do you get where I'm going with this?
No, absolutely.
Because like when I bring up Randy Moss to some of my buddies, like we all have the same reaction, like, God damn it, Randy. You couldn't shut up Super Bowl week calling yourself the greatest receiver of all time. Right. And had the team won the Super Bowl, I would be looking at Randy Moss differently.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I?
Yep.
And then I'm talking about the Niners 2012, the year they went to the Super Bowl. Randy was on that team. He had a solid year, not a great year, a solid year. And he made some comments about him being the greatest receiver of all time, and it ended poorly. And I still hold that Super Bowl, not all on him, but I hold it against him. And so, like, Jordan Poole won a championship. He was a part of a champion, and yet we act like he's the reason they never won anything.
I'm convinced, and doing this job for as many years as I've done it now, I'm convinced nothing would ever make sports fans happy. There's no perfect. There's always got to be a yeah, but.
Really?
A yeah, but. A yeah, but. With everything, a yeah, but. Even with championship players, think about the way we talk about Brandon Belt. And you know what? I'm going to bring this up on the other side. I'll bring it up right now. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM at AC1, San Francisco, always live on the Free Odyssey app. Because, Lubman loves Brandon Belt, and he was talking to me yesterday about the same thing. He's like, Brandon Belt, I don't get all the, the rhetoric around Brandon Belt. You know what? We did go too hard on Brandon Belt. His body failed him at times, but it was a good Giant.
He's good.
Is he my favorite first baseman?
Giant.
No, not at all. But we do crush him, and we picked him out of all the players during the championship run, and we crushed him. Did he not have a better 2014 postseason at the plate than Buster Posey?
He did. Buster was completely gassed.
Yeah, but he had a better postseason than Buster Posey.
And he did.
And people will never, ever bring that up.
No.
Ever bring that up. His Game 5, his Game 6, Game 7. Brandon Belt had a really good World Series against the Kansas City Royals, yet I never hear anybody bring that up. Once our setting is, we think this player's flawed, we can't stand him, we can never see the good in him. Ever, ever, ever. We can never see the good in him. It's unfortunate.
Is that a new thing?
I don't know if it's a new thing or not. I don't know. Like Kevin Garnett, for example. We're talking about Kevin Garnett. Spinotti has his hate, and some of it was trolling. But
he can acknowledge that he's good.
But some people think that Kevin Garnett, he got one championship. He wasn't that good. Like, are we serious?
Well, I see that with Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is now more known as a commentator than he is as a player by most people.
Exactly.
And I think people forget Charles was that dude.
And so, to my point,
he was awesome.
We forget Jordan Poole dropped the 31 in Game 1 against Memphis. We forget that Jordan Poole had 2 big runs in Game 5 and 6 against Boston in his first ever postseason. We forget that he dropped 2 30-burgers off the rip against the Denver Nuggets. We forget all these things with Jordan Poole. Why? Why do we forget him?
I don't know. I find
because of this year, it feels like it washed away all the good he did during the championship run.
That's a good point.
And then all of a sudden, the optics of it's same thing with Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, with a lot of dialogue about Klay Thompson, he had a bad year. He had a bad year. Like, really? Klay Thompson had a bad year?
Is it how you go out? Is it like because, like, for example, Richard Sherman, if I pulled 149er fans, Richard Sherman, and I just said that, what do you think they would say? Because you had a big problem with how it went down at the end.
How he
but
left.
Did it wash away all the good?
It washed away some good. It
okay.
did. It did. Because
it left a sour taste in your mouth.
Even the good of that year. And we started to see it mid-season. People forget about the Cardinals game when Jimmy Garoppolo threw for over 400 yards.
Yes.
Sherman got called for 2 big pass interferences deep down the field.
He was getting cooked.
He was getting cooked. And that was the first time I told you, I was like,
Kyler got him in the end zone multiple times.
I was
Remember
like,
that game?
Dude, I was like, Sherm is getting beat deep.
Yeah, he did.
And then finally at the end of the Green Bay game, in the NFC Championship game, Devontae Adams went deep on him. And Kansas City basically admitted after the Super Bowl, we saw that play, and
Sammy
we knew
Watkins.
we had a chance to go get him deep. And they picked on Sherman. So the optics of that postseason run, and then the next season when he's chirping about other people's money, pocket watching, I was like, yeah, I'm about ready for Richard Sherman to leave. I'm about ready for him to leave. 510, Comcast Business Text Line. Kevin Durant is a perfect example of that.
I mean, he's a 2-time champion with the Warriors. And it feels like the way it went down in the final year left a lot of. I don't really hold a lot against him, but I know a lot of people do. Right?
A lot of people.
Who's more hated right now? Right now, Jordan Poole or KD from Warrior fans?
Wow.
Is the fact that's even a sentence that came out of my mouth is kind of astonishing.
It's wild, right?
It's astonishing.
Like Kevin Durant.
Wow.
Chose the Golden State Warriors.
Isn't it
One
crazy?
of the best players of all time in NBA history chose to go to State Warriors. And the minute he got hurt in real time, I'm looking at people tweet, well, the old Warriors are back. The old Warriors are back. Get out of here, Kevin Durant. Like, it blows my mind to this day on how we remember Kevin Durant.
Really is
we
crazy.
don't ever bring up the good stuff. Like, his postseason run before he tore the Achilles.
They should have went undefeated. Well, no, I'm talking about the year before. But
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
They went 16-1, and then next
that
year,
was one of
2018.
the greatest runs I've ever seen.
Right, and then 2018, they go out and win it. They go to 7 with the Houston Rockets, but they handle
You're
their
talking about
business.
against the Clippers in that first round.
I'm talking about the first round series.
God.
And then what he was doing against the Houston Rockets. People forget what he was doing against the Houston Rockets.
Remember when Pat Bev tried to get up in his face, and Katie just took him? What did he score, 50 in that game?
Score 50.
Oh, my God. He was so sick.
So Kevin Durant game log during that postseason run.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Started the series off slow, 23, 21 points. Then he goes 38, 33, 45, 50. Then he scores 35 against the Rockets in game 1, 29. He scores 46, 34. And when he got hurt, it was midway through the third quarter. He had scored 22, and he hit the bucket, the mid-range jumper. And I was like, oh, God, KD is in his bag. He's going to end up with 40. Like, he was putting up an iconic postseason run. And then in game 6, or game 5 up there at Scotiabank Arena, he had that crowd shook.
I mean, the first quarter, when he came out river dancing, if you weren't, like, completely goosebumps like I was, and I'm getting texts from buddies, my buddy Kevin, I hate CP3 more than Poole and Durant. I mean, this thing's gone completely off the wires.
It's off the rails.
I don't like CP at all.
And like I'm seeing here from 510, the common denominator on a lot of these is Draymond Green. It's an interesting point.
Wow. Whew, what do you do with Draymond Green? Warrior fans want him back. 888-957-9570. Make the case for Draymond Green. Make the case for Draymond Green not being a Golden State Warrior. Now's your time to state your case. Decision day's coming.
It's got to be coming soon.
It's a hard decision to make. It's one of the best players in franchise history. You bring Draymond Green back, Warriors will be a top 4 team.
Well, and then,
if you don't bring him back, what happens?
Well, if let's say you bring him back, where does that leave Kuminga? Where does that leave Moody?